Welcome back, guys, to the next part. I've inspected the spell much more thoroughly, and it was called the Salamander's Feather. It contains the 3 spells of Inferno, Storm, and the Ornithopter. Now, this seems a pretty interesting one, because it contains one of the most annoying spells that I've hated and caused me so much grief, personally. And for the most part, it does the most annoying damage as well. It also now contains Inferno and the Ornithopter. Now, for the most part, that could be good for getting away from a tight spot, which seems to be the better case, because, again, you know, I just feel like I need it. You know, I mean, I'm relying on Pestilence and my creatures to, you know, kill any enemy wizards that come across in my path for what the story wants from me anyway. So, for the most part, it seems to be the most logical sense to use that on. And given that they all seem the exact same price, except for the Thunderstorm seems a bit cheaper, and I don't feel like I want to use that, because again, that goes both ways. I set off a Thunderstorm and suddenly it's going crazy and it's spiraling out of control everywhere. So for that reason, that would be probably a detriment to me rather than a benefit. The Inferno, I'm not exactly sure what that does, but you know, for now I'll just go with the Ornithopter. The Ornithopter, sorry. The Ornithopter. What a weird freaking name. But let's save, just as usual, and well, I say it as per usual. And we shall be going in. Are those tents? Those just occurred to me. I don't know what those were. They seem like mini town tents or something, but whatever. We'll go for it. The Enchanted Garden. And we'll see what exactly it is I have to do. Oh, goodness gracious, what now? Lancelot mentioned a powerful magic item hidden somewhere in this region. Ooh, so we get to learn another spell, hopefully. And he spoke of the enchanted garden of the sorceress Fellerina and her penchant for enslaving knights. Right, okay. Then our first task must be to find this garden. I suspect it will be heavily guarded. Isn't it always? She's not screwing around, she's going straight involved with this. It seems to be a home here, but nothing of interest. Oh, maybe I'll come back to that at some point. Right now though, first and foremost is Places of Power. I'll actually use that because I don't like having too many creatures in my wake. And wouldn't you know it, just the same old sprite. Missed the fact. Keep clear from my mistress's garden, fiend. Spinoza or something. I don't know, forget his name. Didn't really read his name properly, but whatever. No, cast. There we go. You know, it just occurred to me, I've got both the ornithopter, sorry, and the haste spell. And that's a pretty good combination, I must say. It's funny how it's like inevitably wandered itself around me in both these spells now that are joined together. But they're a good mixture. Something much to what I prefer anyway. Thankfully, only he's attacking them, and the elves are, well, even though they're lawful creatures as well, they're not going to have much effect on the wraiths, I'm afraid. By the time he dies... there you have it. Spinoza, that's his name. No! 20 out of 110. That's pretty mean. But we seem to be on a good start. A lot of houses here. Wonder what to do. You know what? Yeah, I'll let her have the mana sprites. Because I can get food. You know, something happened to me the other day. When I was, we have a store, actually, in England. I say the other day, it actually happened quite a few years ago, so I have no idea why I said the other day. It's force of habit, I guess. My friends with their Brummy accents, they really rub off on me, and given that I've been raised in England most of my life, a lot of that talkative accent has rubbed off on me too. But anyway, I digress. So there's a store actually that we have that sells retailed games, both new and second-hand. It's called Game, and it's a UK brand that, you know, houses not just on video games themselves, but also the consoles, merchandising, whatever. And personally, I don't shop there, really. I haven't been in there for so many years. Because... Wait, can't I go through there? No? Oh, wait, yes I can. Haha. Outsmarted. So yeah, I went in there the last time, but it was such a long time ago. But basically, damn it, didn't mean to summon two, but it is what it is. Is that, you know, when I was going in there, I was always comfortable at the amount of times people would be there. That's not good. No, don't take on the skeleton. Right, let's just do that, and let's have them all die. Someone seems to be in there. Knights, who no doubt are my enemies. No, they're not. They're my allies. For some reason. Oh wait, can I go in through this way? I mean, that would be great. You're not my enemies, alright? Okay, found the magical ingredient. Although, why does one of the enemies have... I'm sorry, the knights have Excalibur? And I'm just gonna weasel my way out of here. And just take it right under their noses. I bet you any money they were supposed to defend it, but that didn't happen very well, did it? They just completely let me take it right under their noses. They even watched me do it. Am I still into this area? Is it? Oh, I see. So there's somebody there who is obviously my enemy. But she's not going to allow me. Ow. Would you stop summoning those? Yes, perfect. Let's summon the Wraith as well, just to show me what's going on. Oh, okay, never mind. Let's just get out of here. So yeah, sorry about that. I keep on dawdling with this level. It is like one of those games where you do have to concentrate half the time about what's going on. But for the most part, you can... I feel like I need to open that in order to talk to her. Yeah, so basically with game, I was so comfortable with going in there because I'm so used to having them throw everything at me. You know, they always try to get me to, you know, to buy things from them, you know, and they're just so, you know, used car salesman about it. It's really no best way to describe it other than just them being really pushy and annoying, you know, for the most part. So I'm just, in terms of how I'm used to them, I just don't care to want to listen to them for the most part. But I was actually in there on, I'm not kidding, I'm literally going back a decade now, at least, because now that I think about it, it was actually at the time when I was shopping to buy Oblivion on the retail version, and it came out like a year or two afterwards. But I actually only just recently discovered about, you know, a medieval RPG type game that existed, and then I know, really, I mean, it's just, God, how idiotic can I be with not realizing that this sort of thing existed? And because I always wanted an open world hack and slash RPG type thing, for, you know, it could be really fun to play, I thought. So I was thinking of that, and I actually saw one of my friends play Oblivion, actually, whilst I was curious to see what this game was about, and he just said, you know, I was basically talking to my friend about this, like, I just want a game that does this, and he goes, okay, just sit there, wait there, and let me boot up this game. He didn't tell me what it was called, he just booted it up, and I couldn't believe it. It was, like, to my amazement, the most, you know, different, freshest thing I've ever seen, and it was just really nice to me. So naturally I just wanted to buy it, and by then it was actually quite cheap in stores. It was at least half price, rather at most half price, depending on how you look at it. So, and to us, the full price is £40 for any sort of PC and console game back in those days, which is what it was at the time. But for the most part, I was, you know, trying to, you know, shop for it and see what it was like, and see if I can find any copies of the game. To which my amazement I did, and but the problem was that this was meant to be a new game, okay, and I found the copy okay. It was just the casing that wasn't okay. It was basically, I don't know how to mention this, but okay, well, part of the silicone wrapping, which is outside of the artwork of the case, was like a little bit teared off, and to me, they consider the game brand new. The disc is brand new, the booklet's brand new, but not the case. Now, the way it works in game is the only way to have a brand spanking new game all together is to actually buy the game within its releases, because what they do is, to save money, is that they buy a bunch of cases, or at least they buy a bunch of copies of the game, and then when people return the game, if they want to, because they always deal in second-hand goods as well, they obviously buy back the game for a fraction of the price than they got it, but they keep the case still on store. Like, they just establish it as second-hand. But what annoys me is, to save money, they basically established the casing as a brand new case, regardless, or the case just being of little importance, and you're just still meant to get the CD and the booklet brand new for free, and then that's it. You should just be happy with that. Now, I went in the store with high hopes, and I saw the game just sitting there. It was for £20, and I was feeling good about myself. But I saw that little tear on the case, so I wasn't too thrilled about that. And when I took it up to the cashier, I said to him, "Excuse me, I'd like to purchase this game, please, but you know, this is brand new, right?" And he goes, yeah, that's absolutely, you know, of course, definitely it's brand new. And I was like, okay, well, do you have another case in the back then that you could possibly swap then? Because I can see that this little tear, what I say is little, is actually quite noticeably big. My precious garden, I return to the earth, Valerina. Okay. I hope I was meant to kill her. But yeah, it's like one of those things. Having said that, let's just speed things up. But like, having said that, I asked, you know, respectfully, is there another case in the back? And he goes, yeah, sure, I'll look it up for you. Because I said to him before he was going in the back, I said, listen, I would like to purchase this game, but I'm not willing to purchase it if the case has been ripped. Okay, so, you know, could you at least explain... Well, actually, I didn't even say that. I didn't say to him... I didn't ask him to explain. I just basically said, if there's possibility, because I'm so used to these GameStop places. Wow, okay, that was a bad idea. Yeah, I'm so used to these places just, you know, selling us shoddy workmanship casings. That's not particularly brand new, really, because they just think people are settled with the notion that the game is brand new. But again, it's not. The whole concept is you're meant to buy the whole thing brand new, still in its original silicone wrapping, still with the game inside it, you know. And I'm starting to get, and at this point I was starting to get intolerable with this practice, because during that time there was another game store that we had, was called Game Station, and that was actually starting to go under because it just dabbled way too much in second-hand goods that weren't actually, well, let's say, by that time people weren't buying second-hand copies and good stuff like that. They just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So, you know, for the most part, you could argue that they weren't there specifically for a specific reason, but, you know, me personally, that people were just not happy with buying second-hand, crappy, grimy cases where they were meant to get that brand new. But anyway, again, I digress, and I know I'm just being an idiot about it because I'm not getting to the point. But for the most part, I was so used to their salesmanship, and so I was basically going in there a bit weary about this, but also with a firm grip on myself, thinking that I want a full product of this game. I want the full thing, you know. I want it brand new, and hoping that they had a brand new copy of the game still in its silicone wrapping, or at the very least they had a brand spanking new case that was unopened, and I was happy for them to exchange the artwork from the old casing of Skyrim and put it in the new one. That's what I was hoping. I was pretty much settled for that. I could deal with that and just enjoy the fact that you know, it's still a relatively new casing for everything. So he goes in the back. I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and we were talking about how I was really, you know, firm about this. I thought, you know, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, and I am not trying to just settle for normal, you know, casings where people just, you know, buy second-hand goods rather, and they're just settling in for the whole point of, you know, having a crappy case. So I just wanted to break that chain, or at least, at the very least, I just didn't want to have to deal with, yeah, I did not want to deal with, going through the whole retrospect of dealing with crappy cases. So he comes back, and this is what was the point of that story that's kind of really set me off from game now. Like, I was in a foul mood after this whole situation. But basically, the guy says, no, I'm sorry, we don't have any more you know, brand new copies of it or whatever. And you know, or at least we don't have any, you know, spare cases for you. We don't have any brand new spare cases for you. And I'm like, well, wow, I actually managed to find the maximum of that. Hilarious. So I'm thinking, okay, well, then how's this going to happen then? Because whilst he was telling me this as well, which was kind of off-putting, was he told me this, and then he started ringing up the game anyway. Just literally ringing it up through the till, as if to say, well, you know, that was it. I was going to settle for his word for that. And then I was going to settle for his word and then just start purchasing it. And it was quite obnoxiously annoying, and I thought it was really rude. Because I said to him, you know, what do you think you're doing? I told you I don't want to purchase this unless it's brand new. And, you know, I was basically really shocked at the fact that he just kept ringing it up without me telling him it's okay to do that. And I'm obviously not, you know, I'm obviously not selling for what he was telling me and stuff like that. Okay, now I'm confused. I have no idea where to find those extra 10 points. I really hope I didn't need to prompt a conversation with him. No, just... how is one meant to go through this area? Like, is there meant to be a door that you need to activate? I mean, obviously I'm missing something. Really, but whatever. Anyway, for the most part, the guy started ringing the game up in the till, and I was less than pleased about it, obviously. And I asked him, you know, you already told me I didn't want to buy this game, you know, if it wasn't going to be brand new. And he goes, well, are you not going to buy the game then at all? And I'm like, well, what do you think? Okay, what do you think? Whoa. No, why can't you just buy the game as it is? I'm like, well, is it any of your business? Why? Okay, for God's sake, it should be obvious anyway, but I didn't want to have to be treating him like a 2-year-old and telling him, look, I don't want to play the game, I do want to play the game, but I just don't want to buy the game as it's not fully brand new, because I have suspicious beliefs that I don't believe the game is going to be brand new, given that the policy you give, or the impressions that your game company, that your store owner gives, you're not selling a fully functional brand new game. Okay, and if you're willing to tolerate this with cases, you're obviously willing to tolerate this with games. And even though I know you're supposed to stipulate that if the game's second-hand or not, my thought is you don't. Okay, and I don't trust you. So, for personal reasons, I'd rather not get into that, and I'd rather you just, you know, either, you know, at least get me a case. That's all I was asking for, you know? And I was just literally like, I didn't even bother, you know, waiting for his reply or whatever. I just walked out of there, you know, because I was so frustrated with them. And, you know, the funny thing is, I eventually, on the same day actually, ironically, I went into another game store, and they had another copy of Oblivion, more specifically. But the casing was a lot more better. It looked a lot more better. It wasn't brand new, but again, it wasn't ripped either, and it wasn't, you know, looked all grimy and just all that crap. So I was willing to tolerate that, and I thought, okay, fine, I was willing to buy that. It's still at £20, so I'm happy to do that. So I bought it from their one, and this is back when I was living in Birmingham at the time, during the time when they had Palisades. The Palisades was a ramp on the Birmingham New Street. Well, this game is really not kind to me in terms of items. Cloak of Invisibility, I don't care. If I don't think I'll need that anymore. It's always nice to have summons. But yeah. So to just stipulate that of everything that's just happened, they were just being a bit pushy with the whole sales shit. Really, they basically said, you know, do you want to buy this game now? And I'm like, well, yes, I'd like to buy this game now, but I don't want to buy this case, please. So if you could just preferably exchange the case, that would be great. Or if you have a brand new copy, again, even better. And then he goes looking at the back, and then he just decides that, I mean, he was in there for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. But I have no idea what he was doing, or why it had to take that long. But for the most part, I was just thinking, did he really actually go looking for it, or did he just ask his manager saying, yeah, it's fine, just sell it as it is, it'll be okay, he'll deal with it, you know? Because that's the part of the impression that I got from his attitude. Really, he was just like, you know, I'm just here trying to buy a game that I want to be convinced is brand new, you know? And that, given that it's a fair few years old by now, obviously you're not selling it at its full price, but you don't need to demean the packaging and the retail value of it by selling me a shoddy one. And, you know, his attitude just really bothered me. Really just sort of, you know, it wasn't the fact that he said anything offensive, it was just him talking about, not even talking, sorry, he didn't say anything offensive, he just rang the game up as if that was that. The sale was complete, I should just accept his word, and that I need to... I just need to deal with his word. And obviously I wasn't prepared to deal with his word. You know, I was... The impressions I was giving him, I wasn't willing to deal with his impression, given that he thought, yeah. Ouch. God, I hope I get through the game. I hope these aren't respawning, by the way, that would be annoying. You know what, I believe I have messed this game up. I probably shouldn't have done this far. So I will restart the level. My apologies, I've wasted the entire level, and I think I'm going to start again. I hopefully... Like, I'm really hoping she's not... I don't get it. Are you... Is there something wrong? Am I supposed to be... Yes, your precious garden, but I generally don't understand what I'm supposed to do. But again, I'm not making any cunts about this. I just can't be arsed anymore. You know, it's just gone completely intolerable for that. I feel like I need to kill these guards. You know, who knows? Well, yeah, that's just what happens really. So I'm not going back to game anymore, and I'm not going back to any retail store that sells games anymore because, you know, Amazon's much more of a better, respectful place to buy games brand new, because you at least know you're going to buy them brand new as well. And at the very least, you know, if I want to just be lazy about it, I can find okay, let's see what goes on over here. I'm really hoping that it just has something to do with these knights, because, you know, granted that there was meant to be a spell that you can have that would, you know, conjure up a I wonder if it's meant to be. But that's the story of that anyway. You know, Amazon or Steam for a lazier in its experience or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, if I'm ever buying a new game, it would usually be Steam, but providing, because they give constant updates for it as well, if in case the game is not working properly. And yeah, I just never looked back at it really. More frustrated with it for the lack of, you know, service I got from them, and personally I just didn't like that. You know, I just didn't like them being pushy about that, as if to say, yeah, well, you're going to deal with this, just ring it up. I can't tell you how obnoxiously annoying that is. It's like, if you have to tell someone who is, you know, a service representative for the company, trying to be selling you a product, and you have to tell them what are they doing, because they see, if anything, they were being quite unprofessional. You know, which I didn't need that. I didn't need to deal with them. And why would I? Why would I want to? I have no idea what I'm doing. But it's going to be to the point where if I don't know what I'm doing and I want to get max points out of this, then no, I didn't get the last 10 points, and it seems like it's going to be one of those levels where I'm obviously going to need a bit of ingenuity to figure out why I can't complete it. There are constant elves guarding it, but I don't know. Ugh. Damn. Alright. I will join you again shortly and find out what it is that I need to be looking for. Sorry for the delay on this. I'll be right back. Hey guys, and I'm back. I actually just found this out accidentally, which I shouldn't have. I should have known, and it was my own fault. Because I wasn't paying attention, but basically I earned an extra 10 points by freeing these knights that were held captive. And I actually had no idea. But there's those extra 10 points done, and I'm just going to collect the last 30 points. And then thankfully this scenario shall be over. So apologies for making you go through all of that and hearing out my sad, sobby, stupid tale of how I despise game stores. Now, it's funny how it's always a gimmick magical spell that you need to use in order to progress, or at least, you know, do something to get extra points. And I really hate that the game is not very clear on that. And thankfully, it was actually caused by me having to restart this scenario and choose a different spell in order to free the knights, because I couldn't. Like, it needed some form of fire spell to burn down the bushes, but anyway. That's all said and done. We can go ahead and save this now, and this shall be done, I think, for this scenario. Thankfully, we don't need to wait for any allies anymore when we need to go through the portals. Like, why did we ever? Why did that only occur for Lucan? But clearly, Ariadne, I can trust that she will follow me, and that the scenario will at least play out the way it's supposed to. So again, thank you for watching. Sorry this episode took a little bit longer than it was supposed to, but yeah, again, thank you. Hope you enjoyed at least a little of the Let's Play, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next part. So again, thanks for watching. Take care.